So oh my gosh, I am just so looking forward to today's chat with our guest, Suzi Joseph. And I've known Suzi for, gosh, I think it's maybe 13 or 14 or 100 years. I feel that Suzi's just been in my life forever. And I met Suzi when I was studying, we were both studying at a particular coaching program. And I remember those times with so much fondness, but that makes me laugh so much. Suzi and I were like the two naughty kids at the back of the classroom, and I'm really surprised, Suze, that we didn't get kicked out of those programs.
Oh,
and
I
I
know.
really,
I know.
um,
And some of the looks that came across our face,
I
it's
know.
like, hello.
And I remember one particular time at the end of, this was about a 3-week training program, but we were so tired. I don't know if you remember, but that evening on the train station where I laughed and laughed and laughed so much. And Suzi just brings this, she's an amazing ball of energy. I come away from all of our conversations just so full of just that, on such a high, and just that high vibe happiness that when I'm with Suze, I feel so energized when I'm in her presence, and I just want to be around her all the time. And I think our listeners will definitely, at the end of this chat, will be saying, I want what Suze has got, because it's beautiful, Suzi. And welcome to the
you.
podcast. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. But I feel the same towards you. Like, we have such a good time all the time. And life's always a journey with you and I.
Yeah.
And no matter what frame of mind we're in, we seem to solve the world in that moment.
Do you know what? I was thinking about that. Our conversations definitely are about how we do life and solving the world. And Suze, I would love for our listeners your gorgeous accent. Tell us a little bit about because that's intriguing. Where are you? Tell us about your accent and where you're from.
Okay, well, look, I was born in way northern Canada, in very, very cold, very isolated population of about 250 people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I, I pretty much ran away from home at the age of 17 years old, because we grew up in such a small area where domestic violence was high, alcoholism was high. So I decided at a very young age that that's not what I wanted in my life.
Yeah.
And I moved to British Columbia at that time. And then I decided, I need to create a new life for myself. And it was then I decided I want to go to this country, Australia. I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't even know there was snow here at that time.
Oh, okay.
And I landed up in the snowy mountains of all places, from one snow place to another. But
oh, wow.
Yeah.
How old were you then, Suze? How old were you?
When I came to Australia, I came here 35 years ago. So,
sure.
I was 23 years old.
Wow. Gosh, imagine. And that was about starting a new life for yourself, was it? You traveled here on your own, no family?
I had no family. I had no one. I really just wanted to make a new life for myself. My name was Susan Melissa Vogel, and now it's Joseph.
Yeah.
But I changed it to Suzi, Suzi, just to be really different. And so that's my name now. And I just created a whole new identification for myself.
Oh my gosh. What's that? I'm just wondering what that process is that you go through in creating a new identification. Like, what are sort of the things that you were thinking back at that 23-year-old?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think the most important thing in life is that you have to know what you don't want in order to find out what you do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I certainly did know at that I was very young. I was about 10 years old already when I said, this life is not for me. And
wow,
I knew I had to finish school.
yeah,
So, in order to do anything with my life at that time, but I knew what I did not want in my life. And that was, this being around domestic violence,
yeah,
being around alcoholism.
yeah.
I wanted to find happiness and joy in my life.
You're
And
speaking my language. You're
yeah,
speaking my
yes,
language.
that
Yeah.
happiness, yes. And that was the most important thing for me. And I think at a very young age, then too, it was about being of service. Like at
Oh,
that
interesting.
age already, I was so happy just if I could make one person a day smile, it meant the world to me. So, it was about being of service and also surrounding myself with people who touched my heart and filled my soul.
Oh,
So that was
Susie.
so important to me. And of course, in those days, there wasn't people like you and I,
No, no.
to talk to help. We had to, I learned through all my mistakes.
Wow, what a brave thing to do. And there's a couple of things there, Suze, that I'm hearing that from a very young age, you knew maybe that there was more for your life that
Yeah,
wasn't going to happen in the small town and the family environment that you grew up in. So you were
right.
so brave and took that leap of faith. Would it be a leap of faith of coming to Australia?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Like following your heart. You
Yeah,
have to listen to your heart.
yeah.
And, sure, we run into these crossroads in our life. And did I make more mistakes in my life than I did successes? Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course we do.
Yes,
But
yeah,
that's what makes us the people we are.
yeah.
That's what makes us better and want to do more for ourselves. And I think the biggest challenge we have to do is challenging ourselves. You
Yeah.
know, it's being competitive with ourselves,
Yes. Yeah, I love
not with
that.
other people.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
was reading something the other day around, some of the key elements of living life. And one of them was growth, that if we remain stagnant, that's not a great remedy for living our best life. So growth and always looking for those challenges and where we can, and that's exactly what I was reading about, where we can grow and develop and be better than we were yesterday, but
absolutely.
not competing with other people.
No,
No,
of course not.
no,
No.
no. So tell me, you ended up at the snow region in Australia.
Yes.
Um, what happened then? What was sort of
Um,
the steps
well,
there? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
living in Australia at that time was like, we're going back,
yeah,
1985.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When I came here. And so I landed up in a place of Jindabyne, the Snowy Mountains. There was no fitness centers there, and that's what I did in Canada. I traveled around Canada opening up fitness centers while I was there that short
Yeah.
time. But fitness played a big role to me, mainly because it was that fitness that got me out of the turmoil, you know.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it was the body, the fitness, that was something
Yeah,
that helped. It was a catalyst to help you.
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody needs a crutch, and that's
Yes.
what I
Yes.
discovered at a young age. The crutch of my family was turning to alcohol to ease their pain.
Yes.
Well, for me, it was turning to fitness to ease my pain.
Ah,
Through
interesting. Yeah.
fitness, it got me through a lot of sad, hard, traumatized times of my life. So I turned to fitness very, very a lot in Canada,
Yes.
cycling, gyms, and then when I came here and landed in the snowy mountains, well, there was no fitness center there for all the athletes in the snowy mountains.
Wow. Yes.
Redbow,
Yes.
Perisher,
Yes.
Blue Cow, they had no fitness center at that time. So it was quite easy for me. I became sponsored, and I opened up my own gym, and
Oh,
that's how I stayed in Australia.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you ran the gym, you opened up the gym at Jindabyne.
I opened up a fitness center there called the Jindabyne Pump House.
Oh.
Yeah.
And maybe some of our listeners have been there, because I know that some absolutely go to the snow. We're not a snow family, so that's not my place of choice, but I know a lot of the listeners definitely are. Wow, so you opened up the fitness centres. Yep.
Yes, and from there I met my husband, who came into my gym, Bart, and he opened up one of the first retail snowboarding shops in Australia, and he was importing snowboards. So he had his business, I had mine, and then when I had to, I was born with juvenile arthritis.
Okay.
So I had to have hip replacements. I had a pelvis reconstruction because the arthritis ate through my cartilage, my bone.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And at a very young age, then I was only 39 years old when I had my first hip replacement and my first pelvis reconstruction. And I was forced to sell my gym then.
Oh, okay.
In my life, I'm a hands-on person.
Yes.
I need to be there. I need to work it out. I need to socialize with the people that come into my business. So I went into partnership with my husband, and we had a huge retail shop. I surf, skate, snow, and it was called Time to Ride. Since then, we sold it because we live now in Coffs Harbour. But and I attached myself to all the children in Jindabyne because I myself couldn't have children. I wasn't fortunate enough to bear children. So, that was another hardship of my life that I, one of those stepping stones that I had to cross. And what got me through that was working with other children. I built the skate park in Jindabyne. I did all the fundraising there to build the skate park, and it filled my soul.
Yes.
And I think that's the important thing about happiness, Catherine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Filling your heart, filling your soul.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to do it.
Yeah. Sus, can I just backtrack a little bit? Because that's absolutely, I mean, you and I, we breathe the same air about that, looking for the joy. Yeah. But there's a couple of things there where you said that your passion was about fitness. You've created the fitness business from scratch. But it's almost like that was taken away from you. And I'm not sure if that's the way you put it, but having the health challenges and also, not being able to have children. What are some of the key things that helped you to get through those poignant times of
well, it's about when you don't have anyone to turn to for help. I mean, I didn't have any family here.
No.
And plus I felt really sad that I was letting my husband down. So and he wasn't the sort of person to cry about mishaps.
Yeah.
So I really felt alone. I felt all alone. I really had no one. And what got me through was, in 1978, I remember reading a poem written by one of the most inspirational women of my life. And I still follow her, even though she's not alive anymore. And it's Maya Angelou.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew. I've just got goosebumps all over. Yeah.
And she wrote this poem about phenomenal women, and it was, and it said in one of the verses, it said, "It's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing of my hips, and the joy in my feet, because I am a woman, a phenomenal woman. That's me, and that's you." And I will never forget that poem. I recited it over and over, and I began to, instead of feeling that sadness for myself, I began to put my sadness into helping others.
Oh, Sus.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, when I met you taking that course.
Yes.
I took our NLP course together, and timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, all of these things healed my mind. They healed my soul. Doctors wanted me to go on medication and everything, and I'm not saying that medication is taboo or it's not for everyone, but it really wasn't for me. I felt that was going to put a bandage over my problems, so I needed to fix myself. That's always my motto of life. I need to fix myself. No one else will.
Yeah.
I need to do it on my own. So you have to do all these things in order to help yourself, whatever it is.
Yeah.
For me, it was really going deep inside and finding out who I truly am and going through those personal breakthroughs
Yeah.
in life. Why wasn't I able to have children? Why, how many times do we go through illnesses in our life and we go, why is this happening to me? Why did the Lord or the universe choose
Yes.
me?
Mm.
But instead of asking those questions that you'll never find an answer for, you have to find these answers for yourself.
Oh, Suze, gosh, there's so just the power. Do you know what I when you're describing that
Yeah.
is about, for me, that's about reclaiming your power. It's about going within
Yeah.
to find out and to reconnect with who you
Yeah.
are. And what I'm not hearing is that self-pity, that woe is me. Like, I'm sure there would have been times where it, in reality, we want things to happen
Yeah.
and they often don't happen the way we want them to.
Right.
I don't know if you do this, but I absolutely have a bit of a 5-minute pity party. And I do feel sorry for myself, but I don't stay stuck there like I used to. And that's what I'm hearing from you, that it was like, I've gone within, I've, getting some insight, and
Yeah.
you're turning that to help others, which is just
Yeah. And
beautiful.
what I learned
Yeah.
most of all from the course that
Yeah.
you and I did together was
Yeah.
sadness is an emotion.
Yes.
And if we don't experience sadness in our lives, well, we're not really whole as a person.
Oh,
We
Suze,
need to
yes.
experience sadness. We
Yes.
need to experience anger
Yes.
and frustration
Yes.
and anxiety.
Yeah.
But they're emotions. They're
Yes.
emotions that what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the answer isn't going to slap you in the face. You have to really search for these answers.
Yeah.
Find something you love and do it.
Yeah. One of the things when you say that, Suze, that a lot of people I come across in my coaching practice, and I was one of these. I didn't acknowledge my emotions. It was just like, it's not okay to be sad. It's weak to cry. So what I did is I just bottled all those emotions up. And even some of my clients now will say, oh, I'm fine. I don't need to deal with the emotion. I've just kind of packed it away.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think packing your emotions away is healthy. I think acknowledging them.
Yeah.
And because when we acknowledge them, we allow them for what they are. But what we don't want to do is hang on to them,
Right.
because that's when they become unhealthy. I think
Absolutely.
it's,
And to this very day, and I mean, I'm 63 years old now, but to this very day, when I see little kids running around the park and their mom, running after them, my heart gets sad.
Yes.
It still almost brings a tear to my eye.
Oh, Suze,
But the greatest thing is what I've learned through all of this. So as soon as that sadness hits me and that little tear comes to my eye, I go, that's okay,
Yeah.
But look at all the things that you have accomplished because you couldn't have children.
Yes.
Because you had hip replacements, I mean, I went through 3 bouts of hip replacements and pelvis reconstruction. So, I went through a lot.
Yes.
But I still go on the snow. I still snowboard where they said you'll never do that. I teach yoga, and my surgeon said you will never do yoga again. But it's about proving these people, no, who am I?
Yeah.
You can't let people tell you who you are. Who are you comes from within.
Yes, it comes from within, and it's also about not placing that importance on other people's words, because that could be really, really dangerous. There's lots of studies and research about people who have been, told after a terminal illness, you've got 3 months to live, and they die at 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm very, very conscious about what I allow into my and I'm into my mind. I'm not don't deny research, but I'm very, very conscious about not letting a whole lot of negativity in there either.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm a
yeah.
Sagittarian. I like to prove everybody else
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh gosh,
It's the
that's funny.
best thing about me.
Before I do want to talk to you a little bit about what you're doing now, but one of the things that you said there, that you know, a little tear comes to your eye when you see a mum and a kid. I've been experiencing this lately. As the listeners will know, my mum passed away when I was young. I still get really sad. Like there's that because what we're doing is we're grieving what was, but we're also grieving what could be. And I think the thing when you say that you see the kids, there's that little bit of grief still within your heart that you weren't able to have kids. And I think that's really important to acknowledge those emotions as well, because grief never goes away, and grief is different, you know, it's the loss of something. And for different people, and it's about how we learn to live with it and not let it rule our lives is the thing I've taken away. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So tell me, Suze, now you've had some really exciting things happen for you. You've been announced an ambassador for Lifeline.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Tell me, like, there's so many things that we've sort of skipped over here, but tell me about that. Tell me what's
Okay. Well,
how did that come about?
Oh, well, you know, here I have to give you a little plug, because
Oh,
when I did the Your Best Program Design Blueprint, I structured. I've always been, you know, I've been a yoga teacher for many years, about 10 or 12. I did meditation. I do neuro-linguistic programs. So I'm a private wellness coach.
Yeah.
But I was always here, there, and everywhere. And then when I did that, Your Best Program Blueprint design blueprint, I discovered a structure of what I can do to make my programs better, and how things became more clear to the message I wanted to bring across.
Yes.
And when I really stuck to the three things that my programs want to be, is to reflect on your past, to reconnect, and to reset then.
Yeah.
And follow this program, is when everything came to life for me, and all these things came into play. And I've always wanted to be an inspirational guest speaker.
Yeah.
So I started getting phone calls for that, you know, because I had a structure.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my yoga classes started beginning to, you know, there was reflection, reconnection.
Yeah.
And so there was a structure to my yoga. And then I met Angela Martin, who came to one of my classes one time, and she said, "You are so inspirational in these classes." And she asked me to join the Lifeline North Coast.
Yeah.
And so I'm the ambassador for the health and wellness for Lifeline North Coast, Australia. And I love Lifeline's mission is to ensure that no Australian person has to be left alone in times of struggle, in times of darkness. When you feel alone, you never have to be alone. There's always a phone call. They've got programs. That's what we're running now. We're running programs for those people who feel alone, who feel lost like I did so many years ago.
Yeah.
And you have nowhere to turn. And it makes my heart sing. Yeah. So one of the best things I've ever done in my life is to join a team like this. And sometimes that's what makes happiness come about, is to be able to know that you are of service, and that you can reach out, and even if it's to help a little lady across the street, help someone carry their groceries, you feel so beautiful inside. Yeah. There's nothing more pleasurable.
Oh, Suze, I just think that's beautiful that you have somebody has picked up on your energy, somebody has seen something in you, which is very, very obvious to see, but the beauty of that, it's almost like this full circle, that when you mentioned about leaving Canada and you came to Australia, you felt very alone. And when you couldn't have children, and when you were going through the, needing to close your gyms, that you felt very alone and there was nobody to turn to. So isn't it interesting, Suze, that now you've been approached, you haven't sought this out, but you've been approached to be the ambassador of Lifeline North Coast, which is about, and their mission is that no Australian will ever be alone.
That's right.
I don't know if you've connected those dots, but it certainly comes through. Your purpose in this life is to absolutely help others to feel great about themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is just, I love hearing that. And I think if people want to, we'll put Suze's details up about her Instagram and where you can contact her. But there is this image of you're running a fundraiser for Lifeline. And there is an image of Suze that is just the power of strength and beauty. And when you recited that Maya Angelou poem, when I look at that image, that is, it encapsulates all of those things.
It does.
Oh,
you
gosh.
know, I feel like her when I recite that poem to myself, and I might only do a little, one little verse, and it just intrigues me.
Yeah, Suze, and it's also about when you said when we ran that program, and I remember the day that you got clarity about everything kind of just came together for you. And it was about setting that intention. When you set that intention, and it wasn't even at that program, just at that program with me, ever since I've known you, you've wanted to be an inspirational guest speaker. And you've done elements of that, absolutely. Yeah. But when we did that more recent program and you got that clarity and you actually made that commitment out loud and saying that this is how you want to run your business, things that have just all snowballed into place. So manifesting and setting intentions is really powerful, isn't it?
It is. And like I've always said to you, you're a real journalist. You like to journal.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it. But you do need to do these things.
Yeah.
You have to know, you have to figure out what you want is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And every day it's so important before you get out of bed and before you even put your feet on the ground. It's so important to set yourself up for a perfect day.
Yes.
Otherwise, everything could just fall apart.
Yeah.
But if you say today is a beautiful day, the rain outside is magnificent, you're going to have a magnificent day.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's raining or shining or whatever.
What's that saying? I think it might have been Henry Ford that said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So if you think it's going to be a shitty day, it'll be a shitty day.
It will.
I bet you. But if you actually set the intention, and this isn't saying that rainbows and unicorns all the time. In reality, some days are not as great as others.
That's right. Yeah, of course.
But for me, it's very much about having that intention for having a great day and living a great life. And I would say the majority of the time it turns out okay. Yeah. Right. Sometimes and Suze and I will get on the phone, like if either of us has had a shitty day, we will get on the phone, and it doesn't take long for either of us to kind of snap out of that.
And start laughing.
Yes.
I guess our problem wasn't really that bad.
That's right. Yeah. So having somebody that you can offload to, and I think the beauty of our relationship is it encompasses everything. There's the offloading of, man, I'm having such a crap day today, but it's also about celebrating, and there'll be phone calls from each of us just saying, hey, guess what's happened? And that's beautiful too, isn't it? That's absolutely beautiful.
And I think it's always important to remember, when you're about to make a change in your life, or you want to fix your life, you are going to choose maybe a new group of friends. You
Yeah.
want to be
Yes.
around like-minded people. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
one big thing for me too. My friendships have really
Yeah.
drastically changed.
Yeah.
I'm a friend of every walk of life. I
Yes. Yes.
absolutely love and adore all sorts of people.
Yeah.
But I had to really be careful of who I truly let into my life
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah, some people could really make me even more sad,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And then there's people that fill my heart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to be careful of the friends and the people that you hang around, where you go, what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I do that too, and I think in life there are people that we can't physically remove from our lives, but
That's right.
energetically, I do some stuff to energetically sort of, I have to hang out with them, but
Yeah,
energetically I don't want their vibes.
that's
So
right.
I do some clearing practices around that.
Yeah, sure.
Um, so there you talked about the reflect, reconnect, and reset. You use that in your programs.
Yes.
Are there maybe just one or two things that are really poignant for you in life that we haven't sort of mentioned already?
Well, I think it's about, eh, you know, so many people say you have to forget about your past.
Yeah,
That's one thing, this reflection in my workshops and in my
yeah,
talks, I really tap into because looking back on the path that you've been through,
yeah.
you don't want to forget that actually,
No,
because
no.
it's that path of destruction that
Yes,
led you to a clearer mind, to an
yeah,
opening in the forest, to a clear blue ocean.
yeah,
These are the things that open you up. So you don't want to forget about your past. You
yeah,
want to use that as your anchor to
yeah,
where you're going. And reconnecting, it's reconnecting to that inner wisdom that you have.
yeah,
We're all individual people that have so much wisdom to offer, but you have to find your wisdom and let it shine. Open your
I love
heart,
it.
you
I love
know?
it.
Yeah. And then reset. Well, you want to get your focus and you
Yeah,
want to set your values. And that's where my values workshops have taken off like a storm here because I was walking into things I never knew my values. I never
yeah,
knew what values were until I was about 40 years old.
yeah,
So I was constantly walking into brick walls all the time because I didn't really know what my values were, what was important to me, what
yeah,
did I believe in. I really didn't know. And me, I would just fall in love with anybody who smiled at me because
yeah.
that's all I wanted was love
Yes, yeah,
in my life. I never
yeah,
got it as a child, so I was out to seek it. I was out to
yeah,
find it. And so, you need to know your values. You need to follow your beliefs
yeah.
and live true to them. And so,
Oh gosh,
those three things, I can work workshops just around one of those,
yeah,
or all briefly touch base on all three of them. So, it gave me a structure.
yeah.
And we need to know, I think you always used to tell me, you need to be specific.
Yeah,
If you
sure.
want to
Yeah,
know what you want, you
yeah, yeah,
really need to get
yeah.
to the grind and be specific about what you want
And
and who you are.
do you know what I hear, Suze? You're living those, that reflect, reconnect, and reset. I 100% agree with you about
Yeah,
we can't forget the past or deny the past. And I've even changed the language that I use around my past
yeah,
is I honor my past. And
yeah.
for me, there's a real sacredness about what's happened in my life. There are some things I would never, ever wish to happen again, but where I choose to live is not in my past. I reflect, I acknowledge, I honor,
Yeah,
I learn from,
yeah,
and then I choose which elements I want to keep and which no longer serve me.
yeah,
But I don't live in the past. I live in the now. I'm in
yeah,
very much about the present with an intention of where I want to go. And I think that's the beauty through the work that we do.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, Sis, we could talk for ever and ever and ever
yeah,
and ever, and we always do.
yeah.
Um, where can people find you? where can our listeners find you?
Okay. Well, this is part of what Lifeline is really helping me on.
Yeah.
I'm not really computer savvy, so I don't really, my Instagram page is there
Yeah.
and my Facebook page is there. I
Yeah.
did have a website, but that lapsed because it's just too much work.
Yes. You are absolutely in the here and now, and
Yeah,
your energy is
oh,
about being with the people. So,
absolutely. And I
so
need to just get
Suzi,
out there and talk about who I am.
yeah,
But you can find me on my Instagram page.
yeah, and that's Suzi_motivation. We'll put the details in the show notes.
Yep.
And Facebook, Suzi Joseph.
Facebook is Suzi Joseph.
Yeah.
Suzi.
Yeah, Suzi.
Yeah.
On Facebook, and we'll put the details in the show notes.
Yeah.
Oh, Suze, it's been just such a time. Just goes way, way, way too quick on these
Yeah.
chats. So thank you. I've loved
Thank you for having me.
spending time. I've really loved that, and that's a wrap. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We won't see. We'll hear. We'll next episode.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe I can come back for round 2.
I reckon we probably will do that. We'll schedule that in. So love to you, and hugs and
Love
happiness.
to all of you. Namaste. And remember, just be yourself.
Love it, Suze, and hugs and happiness to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.